Hi Duck fans! I am so excited to tell you all about a short-lived show from 2018 that I really enjoy, The Legend of the Three Caballeros. It premiered June 9th of 2018 in the Philippines, and then later on January 1st of 2019 in Southeast Asia. It didn't actually come to America until November 12th of 2019. Sadly, it ran for just one season, but we did get 13 fun and entertaining episodes, full of callbacks to the original animated film from 1945, as well as little allusions to some older cartoons and comics. The show starts off with Donald's birthday, just as the Three Caballeros movie did, but this one's not going so well. Donald tries to start his day with a good breakfast, but he gets interrupted by a call from Daisy, reminding Donald that he needs to pick her up from some sketchy bus stop so they can spend the day together. Immediately then followed by a call from work telling him he needs to come in now or he's fired. In a panic, Donald rushes out of his house without turning off the kettle he forgot he had put on. Here we get what I believe is one of the first of many interesting comic references, Donald showing up to work as a barber for children. Not only is he a barber, but he's apparently quite accomplished. I feel this is in reference to the comic The Beauty Business, one of the Barks comics featuring Daisy's triplet nieces, April, May, and June, whom we actually see later on in the show. In it, Donald is shown to be an amazing beautician, someone all of the women in Duckburg would go to for makeovers. It's an obscure reference, but I caught that, and I do feel it was a conscious choice to include. As expected for the duck with all the bad luck, one bratty kid and his overbearing mother get Donald fired. Upon walking home dejected, Donald finds the ruins of his house being extinguished by the fire department. Thinking it couldn't get any worse, Daisy then calls to tell him that she's leaving him, since he never showed to pick her up. Pretty bad day all around. He lost his job, his house, and his girlfriend in the span of a few hours. However, all is not lost when a postman delivers a letter to Donald stating that he had just inherited some property from his dear departed great-grandfather Clinton Coote. Donald immediately heads off to find the property, which leads him to the grounds of the new Quackmore Institute, where we meet the antagonist of the show, Baron von Schadgoose. I'll get back to him in a minute. Donald enters Schadgoose's home thinking that his manor is the house Coote had left to him, only to find himself booted back outside to find the actual house just next door, a less impressive run-down cabana. Jose Carioca then shows up to also claim inheritance, as does Panchito, but it seems none of them know each other, which wasn't something I particularly liked, but the issue was a small one, as the three of them click pretty quickly. We are almost immediately introduced to Ari, also known as the Araquan bird from the original film, which was enough to put the smile back on my face. Ari serves as the caretaker of the cabana. It's evident that Donald, Jose, and Panchito are all a bit underwhelmed with their new shared residence, but upon entering the house, they find the place stuffed full of old and valuable artifacts. The three instantly agree to hold a yard sale in an attempt to gain more tangible wealth from their inheritance. Donald calls on Daisy's nieces, April, May, and June, to catalog and price the pieces being sold. Schadgoose hears the commotion of the yard sale outside his own home and storms out to tell off his new neighbors, when he spots something sitting among the valuables piled up outside. A golden ring bearing a large purple gem inscribed with his family insignia. Desperate to get his hands on this ring, Schadgoose offers to buy out the entire yard sale, including the cabana, for $1 million, a deal Donald, Jose, and Panchito are more than willing to accept. Before Schadgoose hands over the check, he mentions that he's also looking for an old gilded leather book encrusted with gems. With $1 million on the line, the three scramble inside the cabana to find the book. Upon doing so, they release a warrior goddess who had been sealed inside the tome long ago. She is Sandra, the Grecian goddess of adventure, and the driving force behind all the episodes, literally in some cases. She's the one who pushes the Caballeros out the door more often than not. She is also the one who explains who the Three Caballeros are. In this show, Donald, Jose, and Panchito are the descendants of the legendary heroes, the Three Caballeros. The majority of the show is Sandra training the trio to take up the mantles of their ancestors, or, in this case, magical amulets. Now, back to the antagonist, Baron von Schadgoose, or should I say, secondary antagonist. The primary antagonist of the show is the evil Lord Feldrich Schadgoose, Baron von Schadgoose's own dastardly ancestor, and the reason Sandra was cursed inside of her book. The original Three Caballeros had used their magical amulets to defeat and seal Lord Feldrich inside a magic staff. A staff Baron von Schadgoose finds hidden away in his own home with the help of the mysterious ring he found being sold at the Cabana's yard sale. Despite being bound inside of an inanimate object, Lord Feldrich is obviously the one in charge. He makes all the plans and directs his bumbling ancestor to do his bidding. In comparison, Baron von Schadgoose isn't really a villain. He's just easily manipulated and kind of stupid, but he seems to know that and accepts it. Something I really appreciate about this show is the amount of detail put into it. For example, when the Caballeros are flying over land, the country beneath them is laid out and labeled like a map, the way it was in the 1945 film. In the first episode of the show, we see Humphrey the Bear from the classic cartoons in the cabana as a bearskin rug. Later, in another episode, the Caballeros get their hands on a magical item that animates any inanimate object, effectively bringing Humphrey back to life and making him a recurring character for the remainder of the series. Even later in the show, we get to meet Clinton Coote in the underworld. There, he teaches the Three Caballeros the black magic trick from the film that allows Donald, Jose, and Panchito to inflate themselves. In that same episode, we also get to see a collection of prized figurines Clinton had kept in life. They're all young versions of Scrooge McDuck in his various frontiersman outfits designed by Don Rosa. Daisy makes the occasional appearance, unfortunately. It was inevitable that she would. Donald can't seem to be in any form of media without their shaky relationship posing as some sort of joke. I suppose it's a necessary trade-off. We can only get Daisy's nieces if Daisy herself is involved. I find it frustrating and annoying that Daisy complains about Donald being unreliable and selfish when the entire show shows Donald saving others. In one episode, she bothers to come back after dumping Donald only to show off a new boyfriend, in an obvious attempt to upset him. This new boyfriend, by the way, is Dapper Duck, another character from an older cartoon, the 1946 Donald's Double Trouble. While there are connections to the film, there are also new aspects that make this show a viable television series. The Three Caballeros movie from 1945 was an educational tool, meant to inform the American audience about things like Southern American Mexican culture. Though that was great, it doesn't make for enough entertaining content that could last a whole season of episodes. So we get things like moon mummies, lava lizards, and warmongering goblins. The last episode was an amazing wrap-up of the entire season, bringing us back to where Sandra paused her narration in the opening of the first episode. There's an epic fight scene between Feldrich and the Caballeros. Heroes and villains from throughout the show reappear to help or hinder in the final battle. It's so incredibly disappointing that the show ends on a cliffhanger and we'll never get a second season, because this was such a good show. It was smart, it was funny, I enjoyed almost the entire cast. The one sour note in the whole thing was Daisy, but barring her few appearances, it was still so good. Right now, the whole show is available on the Disney Plus app, and I highly recommend giving it a watch if you're a fan of the Disney Ducks. The Legend of the Three Caballeros gave me the Donald Duck show I wanted, where DuckTales 2017 failed. I hope you all enjoy it as much as I did. Thanks for watching, Duck fans.